My name is Danny Godfrey. I'm founder and director of EG Technology Limited. We are a medical device and medical diagnostic development consultancy company based in Cambridge, UK. Keeping at the forefront of something implies learning about something, and that is all about the resources that you have at your disposal, but it's also about the mindset that you bring so that you can appreciate the importance of what it is that you're seeing, question that, and then hopefully absorb so you can learn from what you're surrounding yourself with. So in terms of the resources that we have available to us, we are extremely fortunate in working for a very wide range of innovative companies who are our clients. Many of them are genuinely at the forefront of the field that they're working in. And as a result of that, they are bringing to us absolutely state-of-the-art technologies and techniques that we would otherwise just not be aware of. Similarly, as we're working with suppliers who end up manufacturing the devices that we're going to be designing, they will also be keeping at the forefront of the techniques that they need to improve the efficiency of manufacture and to improve the reliability of the products they make. So we end up being surrounded by both technologists coming often from startup companies, but also from universities, and also suppliers who are very good at doing the manufacture. And as we are recruiting our people, we ensure that we are recruiting open-minded, curious, inquisitive people who are going to ask the sort of questions: how does that work? Why do you do it like that? And as a result of that, surrounding ourselves with those resources and having people who are inquisitive and who are open-minded, we find that the level of knowledge in the business grows exponentially. But of course, it's not just clients and suppliers. The MedTech sector is a complicated one. Medical products are complicated, and no one individual, and certainly no one, nor one company, could really hope to understand everything. So you have to work in partnership across clients, suppliers, universities, trade associations. There's a very wide range, incubators and accelerators and so on. There's a very wide range of partners that all come together, and by us being generous in sharing the knowledge that we have, we find that our partners are usually very generous in sharing the knowledge that they have as well, and that helps us keep at the cutting edge. No surprises here. I suspect that the biggest changes has been the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, which has completely ripped across the world. That's obviously had a devastating impact on a lot of sectors, and we are extremely fortunate in that the medical sector has not been one of those that has been too badly affected. In fact, we've seen an unprecedented sort of combination of a massive increase in the amount of work that's being done in the medical sector to try to support the response to the pandemic, and also combining that, of course, with suddenly everybody having to work remotely, which has provided a lot of challenges in its own right. From the first of those, the response in terms of what the medical industry has done, there's been, we've seen in our startup clients in particular, that the flexibility to be able to shift from whatever they were focusing on onto something which might be genuinely useful for COVID has been truly incredible. So we've been working with partners, for example, who've been working on diagnostics for maybe sepsis or another completely unrelated disease or condition, and they've been able to very quickly adapt their technique to be looking for COVID or other markers which may be useful in the COVID response. And what's really interesting about that is that that's obviously opened the financial floodgates for them to an extent. They've been able to raise more finance because they're doing something which is going to support with the COVID pandemic. But they've been able to do it in a way that is genuinely getting them further forwards in what they were thinking they were going to be doing 15 months ago before this all kicked off. So we've seen people who have moved from what was their target to a new target, COVID, which is genuinely being useful and is genuinely helping the international response to the disease. But when that emergency is over, or at least is recessed, they'll be able to move back to what they were doing, having genuinely progressed themselves over the sort of intervening year or two. So that the sector has been able to respond remarkably quickly, and that's been fantastic to be part of that. We're an ISO 13485 accredited development partner, so that in itself requires us to have development processes which are absolutely integrated into our business. And that isn't just about the formal medical device program. It's also about the way that we run projects, the way that we share ideas, the way that we review ideas and review concepts. Partnership is really at the core of everything that we do. The relationships that we have with, I think, everybody are much less transactional than perhaps is the case in some sectors, and would certainly have been the case a few decades ago, I think. So when we're working with our clients, they, as I mentioned earlier on, are typically bringing really innovative, interesting ideas at the forefront of their sectors to us, and we then help them to transform those ideas and those techniques into real products, real things that can be manufactured, that can be reliable, that can be certified, that can be used on patients. So they rely on us to do that work, but we rely on them to bring the original idea to us. And similarly, as we're working with suppliers, I mentioned earlier on that the suppliers will have particularly good techniques, and those will ever be changing. And so perhaps one way of looking at the way that we approach our partnerships is that whenever we get a confidentiality agreement in place, this is going to sound very dry, but we always make sure it's a two-way confidentiality agreement, because of course our clients are sharing valuable intellectual property with us, but we will also be sharing valuable design skills and useful ways of approaching a problem with them. Similarly, we will ultimately be giving the design to a manufacturing partner for them to make it, and there's a lot of intellectual property there, but they will be sharing their expertise with us in order to make it better. So partnerships is about much more than just a transaction. It's about being open. It's about looking to share information in both directions. And if you can do that, then everybody actually ends up enriched. And this comes back again a little bit to what I was saying earlier on about staying at the forefront of things. I like to think that the people that we work with, both clients and suppliers, benefit from working with us more broadly than just the transactional side of things, which is in the contracts.